Hello and welcome to the Inner Coach Classroom with me, Emma Benyon. I'm a multi-certified coach and educator with over 13 years of experience within the educational sector. And this podcast is all about helping educators and leaders build their inner coach so they can become confident, self-aware, and transform how they work and lead. So if you are an educator or leader, then you are in the right place for coaching, mindset, and reflection. So, welcome to today's episode. We are going to talk all about boundaries without guilt. So, let's chat firstly about why boundaries even might feel uncomfortable for educators and leaders. Well, from my perspective, they often feel uncomfortable because we're used to prioritizing others' needs. We're used to holding emotional space for others. And often this can be seen as, if we are available, we're being effective. And also, many of the clients I've worked with who are not educators, are not leaders, they work in other spaces. They might be coaches, they might be personal trainers, they might be a virtual assistant. They also struggle with setting boundaries too. And so it is natural, it is normal to absolutely struggle with this and feel guilty about putting those boundaries in place, both within our work or career and also within our personal life as well. And for those of you who are listening who have children, this might also ring true in that context too. Now, what I want to note here is the difference between a boundary and a barrier. So if we think about a boundary, this is something that protects your well-being while allowing for healthy connection. Whereas a barrier, it blocks that connection altogether and is built from fear, not from clarity. And when we set a boundary, we want this to be really clear, because what we don't want is to feel like we've set a boundary that absolutely does not work for us. And it is really important here that the boundary that you set, or any boundaries that you set, are right for you. Now, there might be some signs that you need a boundary. And again, these are applicable both in work, but also in our personal lives as well. And those might be some of these feelings. So irritation, resentment, fatigue, maybe feeling overwhelmed. And guilt can play into that. So when we think, okay, well, we're feeling this way, we're feeling irritated by this situation or whatever it might be, or this context, and setting a boundary might help here. We then might start to feel guilty. We might not want to say no to something because it feels negative. Then we feel guilty about not being available for whatever it is that we've said no to. And it's completely normal. It's completely normal to feel guilty as part of boundary setting, because as educators, as leaders, and again, for those of you who are parents, we have been conditioned to equate that self-sacrifice with being good at our job, doing things for others, is what makes us good at our job. And so protecting our own needs, our own feelings, can often feel really unfamiliar. And so I want to share 3 reframes, 3 really simple, kind and clear boundary phrases that feel really supportive. They're not harsh and they work beautifully, both in our work and also in our personal life too. So, for example, you might want to reframe, no, I can't do that, as one of these things. I can't do that right now, but here's what I can offer. Here's what I can do. And this comes across as much more gentle, much more collaborative, but still protects your capacity. And it's not as harsh as saying no. Here's another one. Here's another one. I want to give this the attention it deserves. Can we revisit it at? Now, this shows that you care, you're passionate about whatever it is that needs the attention, yet it maintains your limits. Again, doesn't feel as harsh as no. And here's another one. That doesn't work for me, yet I'm happy to support in this way instead. And this one's really useful where potentially something doesn't feel aligned, but it keeps that relationship in a good, positive space while also staying firm with the boundaries that we want to set. So, what I would encourage you to do with these is think about, and this you might want to try this in a work or in a personal life scenario. Think about those spaces where normally you would say no and then feel really guilty afterwards. And maybe try using one of those boundary phrases instead. So I can't do that right now, yet here's what I can offer. I want to give this the attention it deserves. Can we revisit it at? And that doesn't work for me, yet I'm happy to support in this way instead. Now, one of the tools that I shared in an earlier episode was about journaling, and I will talk more about this throughout this season, and you'll probably see it on my socials as well, because it's something I'm really passionate about educators and leaders using as a reflective tool. Now, you can start to really dig deeper into boundaries and why you might feel a conflict with setting a boundary, why you might feel that guilt by using journaling and exploring using some journaling prompts. And so I'd love to share one with you today. And again, I will add it into the show notes so that you can come back to it if you wish. And this reflective journaling prompt is, what am I protecting here? What boundary do I need to put in place to protect myself? So try that prompt, see what comes up for you, because that will help you work out where you might need to set a boundary and what might be holding you back from setting that boundary. What might be the barrier to setting that boundary? So start small, be reflective, and try saying and using one of those really simple, kind yet clear boundary phrases when you feel like you need to put a boundary in place, yet no feels a bit too harsh. And if you'd fancy some more support with that, then please do pop me a DM, because we can absolutely explore boundaries without guilt during one-to-one coaching. So thank you for listening to today's episode. I'd love to hear your reflections from this, all about boundaries without guilt. So why not come and chat with me over on my socials, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and all the links of where to find me are in the show notes. And if you have enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the next one, then please make sure you follow and subscribe. And I would absolutely also love for you to leave me a review. Let's continue to build your inner coach together, one episode at a time. And I will see you over in the next episode.